Defense Secretary General Mattis, well, he hit the ground bombing, ordering 31 strikes on ISIS targets during his first day on the job. Joining me now to discuss, Jessie Jane Duff and Captain Chuck Nash. Captain Nash, this is the stuff we want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is going through CENTCOM. What I think is going to be really interesting, Charles, is not the ongoing military operations, although I expect them to be stepped up. But I'd be very interested to learn what the changes are to the rules of engagement. The strikes of the 31 strikes, 25, very interesting, were in Syria, and 22 of the 25 were in Raqqa. That sends a strong message.
Jessie Jane, we talked a lot before the election and even after about the esprit de corps, the morale within the military. How do you think your former colleagues in the military feel right now?
Well, General Mattis was invited he did not bring a knife to a gunfight. He brought a grenade. He stated when he was confirmed that we need a military that is so lethal that the enemy on the battlefield has its longest day and its worst day when it encounters our force. Basically, we have to have we have to ensure that our adversaries understand what we will not tolerate. He said this in his confirmation hearing, and he demonstrated it when he walked into the shop today. He made it very clear that it's no longer a cocktail party, boys. I'm here to kick some rear end.
Let me ask you, Captain Nash, now there are talks about peace talks, or whatever you want to call them, in Syria. Apparently, Russia has taken the lead. I'm not sure if Iran's going to be at the table. With the Trump administration, what do you think our role is going to be there? I know that Donald Trump has said on more than one occasion, hey, anyone that helps us kill ISIS, we're all for it. But what about Syria, the whole thing?
Yeah, I think for us to send a representative there would be a mistake, because by going, whatever they come up with, it's almost like a silent seal of approval, and it may be a really bad deal. So I just see that as something that is a lose-lose. I really don't see us joining into that. But as Syria as a whole, I think what's going to happen is, since the Russians and the Syrians have the predominance of force in country, and the Turks look like they're siding with the Russians, the train has left, Charles. The train left a long time ago, and for us to try to run it down would just look foolish and weak.
Guys, I want to ask you about something that was said last week. Jack Ma, who is now the richest man in China from Alibaba, he made the comment that America has squandered its wealth, specifically talking about $14 trillion in profits that our corporations have made being spent on war. Our brain room says it's $12 trillion, but Jessie Jane, the number 12, 14 trillion, does he have a point there? And should we consider that when we put together foreign policy from here on out?
Well, I don't think he should have any influence on our foreign policy.
But does he make a point, though, about us squandering money being the sheriff of the world?
This is also a man who wants new world leadership, and he says that will lead us all to prosperity. That sounds like a globalist to me. He does have a point about waste. Yes, I cannot lie about that. I'm sure Captain Nash agrees with me that we have $125 billion alone in December was reported in the Washington Post in the Pentagon that has been hidden and wasted. So, yes, meanwhile, our troops have not had adequate equipment, but we've been wasting dollars within the Pentagon. So can we reform and ensure that we're not wasting money? Absolutely. And have we made a lot of errors in our ways? Absolutely. But what we also have to do now is expedite and finish the job, because otherwise we'll be in this war for another 10 years and we'll have more money going down the drain.
Captain Nash, I agree with Jessie Jane in the sense that Jack Ma has ulterior motives, but that one part struck me because I think that's the feeling in America itself is that we've squandered the riches, our financial riches, and certainly the blood of our best young people, and a lot of them in theaters that maybe we should have never been in the first place.
Yeah, the whole globalism thing, it's coming crashing down, and it's the same with multiculturalism in Europe. The Europeans have figured out that maybe that isn't really a good idea either. Nations are strongest when they're unified, not when they're celebrating their divisiveness and diversity and differences. They should be celebrating the common denominator, that which makes them citizens of the country. And we as Americans need to celebrate that Americanness, which is why I think President Trump did such a powerful job and upset all the polls and won the election, because Americans, by and large, looked at that and said, yeah, America first, yeah, America.
So, Jessie Jane, from here on out, the use of our forces, we know we have some unfinished business to settle, but after that, how would you like to see it played out from here on out?
Well, we have to ensure that we understand our enemy. I don't think that we understood the situations that we went into clearly with Iraq. Obviously, when we withdrew, we even made it worse. We had a bad situation. It got worse. Now we have to resolve it because we do have a problem with ISIS in 32 different countries where it did not even exist before. We see what's going on in Europe, and we see what's going on here in the United States with extremist attacks. We must face this enemy and resolve this. Otherwise, it will go on and on. And I think General Mattis has the right idea. He's going in. He's making an abrupt statement to the world that we're not going to play anymore. We're not going to do the trickle-down theory of bombing.
I got to tell you, I feel fantastic that he's there. I feel so much better, and I think so does the American public. Jessie Jane, Captain Ash, thank you both very much.
You bet, Charles.